Hi, it's Mark Rushton of markrushton.com. It is Sunday evening, December 6, 2020. This is my second video of the day. I went up to Cedar Rapids today and did some field recording. And then I also did some live sort of ambient-ish recording at the Matyk, second weekend in a row with the Jon Harnish. And I got some pictures, just a couple pictures of the area where we were different part of the building this time where we recorded. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about it's been almost 4 months since the windstorm swept through the whole Midwest of Iowa here, but particularly hit Cedar Rapids incredibly hard. And wow, there's just tree limbs and trunks just all over the place there. The corners, by the road, it's amazing. It's huge. What does my wife say? It's like that Cedar Rapids lost like 75 to 80% of their tree cover, which is a lot. I'll show you an example of that here soon. Just a second. So we'll first talk about. Let's talk about like the windstorm, and show you some photos from that. I'm not going to show you some photos from that first. I'm going to show you an area that I was in today, but in the past. And this is a kind of a neat thing that you can do with Google Maps. So let me kind of expand this out here. And this is a view of Mccarthy Road, which is over on the southeast side of town. This is a couple miles from where Ann and I first lived in Cedar Rapids. And kind of a between, there's two parks, Van Vechten and Upper Van Vechten Park. They were named after the Van Vechten family, of which Carl Van Vechten, the photographer and writer and very interesting character. Look him up. Fascinating guy. Photographer of many jazz musicians in Harlem and actors. And anyway, he's an interesting deep dive unto himself. Anyway, so there's these two parks, Upper Van Vechten and Van Vechten Park, named after his family, I believe. Not necessarily him, because he moved out. he was off to New York City, right? There you go. Anyway, so Mccarthy Road, I have painted Mccarthy Road before. I wish I do not have a photo of that painting. It's downstairs. I need to photograph it. It was in a show in 2004, but sort of a loose interpretation. Very picturesque area here. And rode my bike through here many times. Used to ride my bike to work. I believe it was this way. This was one of the ways I would ride it when I used to work for MCI, back when MCI was a thing. And anyway, so this is a street view from Google Maps 2008. So you can kind of see the tree cover. It's very dense down here. And even in the winter, you couldn't see. It was so thick, you couldn't see anything from either side. I think there's another view here, which is 2012. By then, they had expanded the road a little bit, added curbs on one side. And even though this is the summer, extremely thick tree growth, to the point where even after the leaves fell, you really couldn't see anything. What else have I got here? What else was there? And then I think there was one for 2019. Wasn't there one for 2019? Maybe you got to go to a different a different view here. All right, let's go to 2020. This was August 2020. And so this was after the windstorm. So yeah, there you go. So then we go back to We'll go back to this view in 2019. And then 13 months later. Back to 2019. Then back to 2020. It's significant. Significant. I mean, you can see lights downtown that you could never, ever see before. Even maybe in the winter, you might have one or two. It was just dense and thick. And oh my God, I guess she's my sister-in-law. My brother-in-law, my wife's brother's wife, used to have a house down here off of trying to see, I don't think you can see it in here, but I could see it today. It's plain as day. There's I think it was 21st Street she lived off of. It was a dead end to the north of McCarthy Road. And you could see everything. And back in the day when she lived there, last house on the road there, let's see if we can do the, yeah, it was 21st Street. She lived in this house back here. You couldn't even see it in the winter. Like maybe just a little hint or whatever. And yeah, it's wide open. See everything. Crazy. So let's take a look at some of the photos I took up in, it was Van Vechten Park, not Upper. Wait, I thought this was Upper over here. Maybe this is, well, it was Van Vechten Park. Anyway. So this is what it looked like today. Let me get this out of the way here. That's what it looked like today. It's like a bomb went off everywhere. Absolutely amazing. And you can see McCarthy Road back there in the on the left-hand side. Yeah, if you were standing on that part of the park, you'd never see it. Yeah, it looks like there had been a bombing campaign, just aerial bombing. And that if there is any trees that are like not terribly disturbed, they're low. They're very low in the ravine there. Anything up high, they look like this. They look like they've been sheared off. Crazy. Then we drove by. Well, John and I drove around a little bit this evening, around sundown, and we drove by my old house, and there was tree debris all over the place. I think a little bit of the roof was damaged and the gutter was damaged. I saw that, but we haven't lived there in over 13 years. Drive by it every now and then just to see what it looks like. But yeah, that part of town. Well, of course, and then we ended up going on East Post Road to Marion. And it's just the same. Looks just like this everywhere. It's terrible. But despite tearing down all these, having to cut down all these trees because they're heavily damaged, they're planting new ones. So that's nice. Then once I was done with there, from that location, this is before John and I played music, went down to one of these corn processing plants and just kind of hung out nearby and put the one of my audio recorders up on the roof and did a field recording of the industrial sound, which is very interesting. Sometimes you get a little hint of, I don't think there was any trains nearby, but you get really good, Just, and then every now and then you'd hear this. Psh. That's very good. That's why I like making field recordings. There you go. That's just up from Otis Road, just down the hill from Van Vechten Park. Very industrial. And then this is Jon and I playing at the Matyk. Last time we played on the second floor. It's what I call the leather room. And all these leather chairs and sofas and stuff like that. This time we played in the wine cellar, which is the lower level, and is super neat. Not quite ready yet. It's going to be, when it opens, it'll be called the Bohemian. And so playing with some of my apps, and the Empress reverb there on the left, and Jon let Jon use the Echo system. I forgot my lap steel, so I just used the apps on my iPad. And this is a shot of the wine room downstairs in the Bohemian. A lot of art on the walls. These little back rooms where you can kind of nooks, private nooks. Some of the art that's there. Oops. You don't need to see that. Another place we went to. All right. So another place that was damaged by the windstorm. Last week's recording that Jon and I made, I made edits, and I released it on Bandcamp as the return of the Matyk. And it's 12 tracks. Some are short, some are long, some are really long. Gives you a feel for what we record and what we do and what we have been doing for the last 15 years down there together, and also at the Matyk building. And the cover art here is from one of the paintings in one of the bathrooms. That looked good. So it's a free album. Buy the digital album. Name your price. So if you want to pick it up for free, you can download it for free. I'm very generous with the number of free listens before having to, quote, buy it. So you don't have to buy it. Donations suggested. Donations, no, donate, what's the word? Donations appreciated. But you don't have to. You can just enjoy it. Sort of a little artistic, electronic, avant-garde, improvisational, ambient sound. So anyway, we did that, and we'll probably get together again here in the near future. I'm not quite sure when, but it was good. We probably made an hour, maybe an hour and a half's worth of music, long form, but I'll cut it up. I like to cut things up into kind of smaller chunks. Those longer tracks. I mean, yeah, you're in the moment, you're listening to it, it's great and everything like that. But I'm sort of if you're gonna, unless it needs to be a fully formed long piece, carve it up into little chunks and listen to it that way if you can. Especially if there's some sort of changes or anything like that. Don't have a big. But what am I saying? I mean, look at this here. You got 13 minutes and 25 seconds. I split that one up too. That was going to be like a 22-minute track. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. No one listens to 22-minute tracks. Or not too many anyway. But it's good. It was good to see Jon again. And good to see the town during the day. And just, it was a good time. Good times. Good to get together and play music and record and catch up. We did catching up last week. We did some more catching up today. It's good. It's good. All right. I'm at 15 minutes, second video of the day, but there you go. And that's it for today. And if you missed the first video today, it's Where Should Artists Live number 3, Realtor Recon, small town. If you're a poor artist or you're just looking to move, I go through the real estate listings, and I'm very nice about it, right? I'm very understanding. I'm not one of these, I'll keep it at that. All right, see you tomorrow. I'm back at the day job tomorrow, and so it'll be probably late afternoon when I crank out another video. Talk to you then. See you then. Thanks.